I got the love, she coming through. She's a 9 and 2. I thought I fuck no who with the 5. But I difference to these sides. Let's go. You get a nigga like me, don't lie. I got the love, she coming through tonight. And 2. No who with the 5. But our differences to thy side. To the side. I raised you up, don't you lie. I'm not a hustler, I'm out the way. I'm out the way. No bitch, you don't even.
Hello. Good afternoon and evening to everybody. We have James from Watch Your Mouth Reviews. Look at him. Dazzling smile. Welcome to the MIZZES B3ST Reviews channel. We are here to go over Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 13, episode 3. We didn't get as much this episode. It's one of those, what they call it, like a bridge to take us to the rest of
filler. It was definitely a filler episode. There was some drama, but it was definitely given filler. Still.
I agree. Well, let's get into it. This episode was like, it was a little weird for me to watch. I was like, I was texting James like, this is a little awkward to look at these damn magic mics. But anywho, they are in Las Vegas. For those who do not know, everything that happens there, they say stays there. It's a lie, a big lie. But the ladies are there. They're having fun. It looks like they're at that new resort that they built. It replaced the Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, yep. It looks nice. I can't wait to visit it myself.
I want to go. I haven't been since that has been there. Like half the strip's under construction, they say. Yep. Anywho, they're there. So, they're having breakfast. That's where the show starts. And we see Garcelle talking about how she wants to see men. I'm like, all right. So they're setting this up. We know they're going to see men. And they mentioned Sutton's dating. And normally other, franchises, I might not go over this, but I'm probably a little bit of a Sutton fanatic. And she cracks me up, and this is why. Because I'm like, here she goes again, and they're talking about why she cannot get a second date. Garcelle's talking to her, and it looks, and she's like, well, shit, at least I could get a first date.
Right? I was hollering when she said that. She said, you ain't gonna clown me.
She's like, you're not going to do this on this camera. That's how you get really close in real life. Because your friends, they won't care about the camera. They won't care about any of that. They going to tell you, listen. So I just thought that was funny. But we didn't really get much. We do hear that Sutton told a man that he had nice triceps. I'm just like, Garcelle is right. She has zero. I mean, zero. This fist can't be unfisted. She has zero game.
So I can't. Okay, so I can't talk because I've complimented someone on the same thing. So I cannot talk.
Oh shit!
I cannot talk. That's why. Yes. No. We were at. It was Planet Fitness, and I remember.
Not at the gym.
I was at the gym, and I would never forget. I saw because his triceps. Had a huge indent in it, and they were buff, and it was like, those are nice.
Not those are nice.
I did. I said, those are nice. He said, thanks. And I'm like,
Lord.
I didn't know a tricep could do that.
I didn't know a tricep could do that.
Yes, I've done that before too, Sutton. It's okay, Sutton. I get it. I do. That's why I can't really speak on there and say that's weird because I have done that.
Listen. Well, you can find, you can, I don't know. I think when you're a little younger, that's easier. But when you're Sutton's age, it's like, listen, chick, you gotta.
No, and when you Sutton age, that's more prevalent to say that because you old. So yes. And you still keep your body in shape? Absolutely. No. Yes.
So moving it along, we see Sutton and them getting ready, and she's freaking out because she's looking for a pair of pants. This is where the pants, keep in mind how many times we're going to hear of pants this episode, but this is where it first starts. She can't find her one pair of pants because they're having the Magic Mike night, and the recommendation is to wear, Erica is like, wear pants because, they put you on stage, spread you wide open, lick whipped cream. I've seen those shows. That shit is
setting them up for the okie doke, Erica. We see you.
Erica knew what she was doing. She probably noticed that because I'm like, Kyle with the dress, a short one.
Yes, Kyle wore a dress. Garcelle wore a dress. I think Dorit had on.
Dress. Yes,
Dorit had a dress on too. So I was like, so half of y'all followed this Well, Mrs. Best don't want to call it a dress code, but I'm calling it a dress code. Half of y'all call it a dress code. The other half of y'all was like, we gonna wear what we want.
I feel like Erica should have made it like more, like been more, but I could tell she's
Erica
just like,
Erica just says, as long
strippers.
as we can get in the club, wear what you want, as long as we can get up in there. That's all we can.
Yeah, unless it's like a white party or those type of things, come as a
Right.
pirate, shit like that. Well, actually, I can't even lie because I've been invited to costume parties and I will show up in this hoodie specifically with a little bit of makeup and some tennis shoes. But I'm kind of, I know, I'm gonna do better, y'all. So she freaks out on her house manager or her property manager. I didn't know he traveled with her, so I guess he just manages whatever property she resides in. And if so,
Which I want that kind of money.
right.
Like I want that kind of money where the person who's supposed to be managing my properties also can travel with me and do that. Now this is where Sutton becomes a Karen, and she does this quite often where she like becomes a Karen in the first part of the season, and then she turns into the Tasmanian devil, start juking everybody, and this is where I love her. So that's why she's my favorite, because I could be like that. I could be cool one moment, I could be like, look, and just freak out the next. We all have those moments.
Mm-hmm.
But rich people problems seem a little bit more like of a less adverse than poor people problems. Just saying.
Well, I definitely agree with what you're saying, because that's exactly what I was gonna say. That's why I put like she was a little extra with Avi, but I think it's because even though she came, from relatable, times and money, she has had a good amount of money for a good amount of time. So I think she's adjusted to that, and a little bit of it came out. We see you, Sutton. It's all right. Everyone's flawed. I do love Sutton, so I give her a pass. So next thing we see is the ladies actually arrive at Magic Mike. And I know some people are like, you're not going to talk about the fact that Dorit and them didn't have a glam squad. I don't care. So I'm not going to go over that. But they do go to Magic Mike. And it was just very, very funny because when they're showing them at the show, whenever they show these old ass housewives at events like this with strippers, I just feel like the housewives as a franchise as a whole, all of them handle like attractive men and strippers like strangely, like from how they discuss sex to how they play with it. To me, it's like, okay, we're all grown and y'all got kids. I know you've all done some things in the bedroom. Why are y'all acting so awkward over it? So Dorit was zooming in with her phone into the Magic Mike. I'm just like, oh Lord, Dorit. I know Dorit needed to see that probably more than anyone there looking at husbands. James is like, listen, PK is even
I
if
already told y'all how I felt about that marriage per se, so I'm not gonna say it anymore because y'all know,
so we notice when they're showing everybody watching the little strippers that Sutton she's noticeably upset. So at first she was cool, but then what I noticed was when the little stripper man or whatever they're called went to each lady but her, I think she got impatient and embarrassed, and she didn't know how to handle that. It made it something else. That's what I think happened, and I'm thinking you think that too.
I agree. No, I know that's what happened. Yeah,
because you don't come nowhere prepped with a stack of ones, honey, unless you have.
It was the fact. Yeah, I agree. I think it was the fact that she was ignored and wasn't patroned in the same way the other ladies were. Particularly Erica, Crystal, and who else? Kyle. I think when we got to that part, I think that's where she felt slighted. Like she felt like she probably had an insecure moment. I think that's really what happened. That's why I really didn't mind the whole Karen thing that she was doing, because it was like, I kind of understand, because if I'm the single one and you have all the married ones on the stage, of course I'm going to feel some kind of way, because what would make them more desirable than me? Like, and I'm the one that's available.
I did think that was odd of the order, how long it took and all of that, but we had to, I don't think it was, listen, Sutton, I don't know what the hell happened to her. Maybe it was the tequila. I don't know, but she was tripping. She
She absolutely was tripping. Yeah. She was tripping. I'm sorry.
She is up leaving And we see people follow behind her. Pretty much the cast followed behind her, with the exception of who was on stage at the time, Dorit and Erica. We don't expect Erica to leave because she set up the event. And Kyle was on stage, so she didn't need to follow after Sutton. Garcelle did. Crystal even did, and it was her birthday. But Dorit
Crystal
said,
didn't. No, Crystal didn't. Crystal stayed.
She stayed?
Crystal stayed. Yeah,
Okay.
Crystal stayed. It was only Garcelle at the time, and then Kyle said she had to pee, so she went to the bathroom, and that's when
So
she
the
met up with
thing,
them.
so Kyle's on stage. Crystal stayed, but she gets a pass. It's her birthday. She should not be
Right.
following.
I'm not mad at Crystal.
You know, but I'm looking like Garcelle gets up, but Dorit, you stayed your ass there. Kyle was on stage, so she didn't fully understand the freak out, but at least went to check on her after peeing. Erica didn't have to. She's hosting it. In my opinion, the best person outside of Garcelle to go would be Dorit, but I can't stand Dorit, and she irritated me this episode.
Honestly, no. I'm gonna say I disagree with that. I don't think Dorit should have been the one that should have followed Garcelle to go get Sutton, because Dorit makes things about herself. And I'm sure you'll get to that in a minute. But the last thing I would want if I'm upset is one of my friends coming up to me telling me I shouldn't be upset, and when I tell them why, they feel like it's a personal attack on them.
Yeah.
For why I feel upset.
So
I don't
I
need
hear
that
what you're
at that moment.
saying. Dorit's definitely not the right person to go after her, but like in my little perfect world, in my little perfect mind, I would have liked for her to do it. And the reason why is because of what you said. She's going to end up making it about her later. She's going to bring it up. She's going to do something. So I'm like, since you always like to talk about something, why don't you finally take the option to finally be a part of what you talk about, Dorit? Because Dorit's always talking about some shit that she's not a part. But I know she would never do that. But I was looking at her like,
see, for me, honestly, I felt like if anybody should have went with Garcelle, if Crystal wasn't on that stage, I felt like it should have been Crystal.
That would make sense, because
I felt like it should have been Crystal, because they're growing closer and they hang out a lot outside of the show. So, but Crystal was on stage, which is why I'm not going to hold her feet to the fire, because I'm like, look, you probably didn't see it. So there you go.
Yeah. Either way, I think when Sutton gets upset, since she's been on the show, it's pretty much the same people to check on her and not check on her regardless. This time, she didn't really have a reason to be upset. I'm like, girl. So when she's leaving, she's like, I'm on the board of Ballet Foundation. I did ballet, was in point, met people on that foundation. The people on those boards are like, they're the ones doing the most, but their money is usually the only reason they're on those boards, and it's usually because of tax purposes.
Right.
Those who know. I'm not going into that. I'm not a fucking accountant, but that's usually why. And that's from personal experience, dancing with Alvin Ailey, the San Francisco Ballet, and multiple other places. So I'm telling you, these places, Sutton probably is on the board, and they don't like for people to be at things like that. But then at the same time, a lot of those old hags on that board, they be in strip clubs and shit. My mama told me some stories. Anywho, moving it along. So Sutton's freaking out, and she's saying she can't be affiliated with something like Magic Mike, even though she came prepared with pants that she does not wear to be spread wide on stage. And she brought some ones in case it was, little Magic Mike, true, setting. So she just really contradicted her own self with everything that she did. She's bringing up how the face and the crock is what upset her. As we stated, I just think that she's insecure. So when Kyle does check on Sutton, in my opinion, it just made things worse, because Kyle makes things worse, in my opinion. I think that's why her and Dorit get along really well.
Kyle makes things worse is because Kyle, if she can't relate to something, then you're over exaggerating, or if you're overdoing it, or it's not real or something. If she can't see it, and the thing about that is that it's hard to prove to people when you can't see past your own nose. So it's like, that's what's wrong with Kyle to me. It's like, I feel like because she can't relate to something, that makes anybody else's experience exempt. And I feel like I don't like when people do that. You don't have to understand everything. That's part of life. We don't understand everything. So I don't understand why you would even think I would just support her, just let her vent, let her talk her mess, give her a hug afterwards, and say, let's continue
that's
on
all
tonight.
they can do. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
Out of something, make sure they're good, give them a hug, and leave it there. But Kyle doesn't do that. And Sutton makes it clear to Kyle. I don't know why Kyle could not sense that this lady was not in the mood to be bothered, but you don't want to bother little white ladies from the South when she don't want to be bothered. Leave her alone. So Kyle is still pushing, and Sutton gets irritated, and she's like, Kyle, nobody asked y'all to follow me. Nobody. I'm looking at Sutton like, she has, even though you tripping, this is true. But
it very much is. That's why I was like, that's why I said I'm not really mad at her per se, because she told us y'all.
Nobody ever checks Kyle.
And I felt like she was going to come back to them at some point, but Garcelle and Kyle kind of made it worse, because then y'all bringing attention onto the simple fact that she probably was embarrassed after she did it, and she was trying to make an excuse, but it's like, but Sutton, still, you were tripping, because there was no reason. You could have just sat there, and if you didn't want to see you could have closed your eyes and turned your head. You didn't even have to do all that. Like, you did.
Child, Kyle snapped at Sutton when she says this to her and says, like, you're being Kyle, and that finger, she loved to have her finger up, but she told Sutton she was being a bitch, and then Sutton snapped right back and said, but Kyle, you always walking into stuff. You're always walking into conversations that are not your business. I'm looking at Sutton like, reader, let her know. I know.
Yes, please. That's why I said I was not mad at her.
But people who watch
Kyle needed to hear that.
know.
Yes. Kyle need to hear this. I'm sorry. Y'all could call Sutton whatever y'all want to. She's still my favorite housewife. I don't care.
Yeah.
But that, I needed that read to be a little bit more harder than that, because she needs to hear, because Kyle, as I said, she's inserting in everybody's business, and then when she doesn't understand the business that she's in, then she want to start telling you, oh, you're doing too much. That's why I said I can't stand her. That shit she did to Crystal, even though I know Crystal was full of shit, I still feel like regardless if she lied or if she didn't imply the correct term, she still can feel how she feels, and you were trying to negate that feeling by saying the whole situation wasn't true. And I didn't like that she did that to Crystal. Which Crystal got a bigger heart than I ever would have, because when I tell you, I'll be up my foot.
Crystal's married to the guy who helped make The Lion King. Okay, listen. I like Crystal, and she has her small moments, but she reminds us that she's married to a man who made Disney movies with how she handled these ladies. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving it along. We did see, they figure it out. Kyle and Sutton, they always do. They have this like toxic, dysfunctional.
It's like
I don't get it, but
like Ike and Tina,
friendships like that. I have some Ike and Tina friendships. I do.
I don't have any. I don't got time.
Listen. Well, now what I do, instead of doing the banter, I'll just go ghost for like long periods of time for my friends that we have that with, and then I only go around them now to have fun, because anything deeper is a problem. Moving it along, we did see Erica Jane come back in, and everybody's freaking out as if Erica is something to fear. And by their behavior on like worrying about Erica coming into the van to see the arguing, you proved Sutton's point a couple seasons ago. Well, hell, all the seasons that Sutton's been here, you prove her point of you bitches is scared of Kyle. In the hood, we call y'all some scary bitches. What the hell? What the hell? Do you think that Erica, I got scams everywhere, my Vegas residency tickets are only $6 a ticket? Jane Girardi, why are y'all afraid of her?
I was confused by that too, because
she can't do shit without the tabloids coming. She can't do shit to y'all.
It's not if she can't do nothing. It's like, even if there was nothing, all she does is talk really fast to try to confuse you, make you the liar, and say that she's not a liar, projecting, and it's very easy. All y'all had to do is just sit there and just look at her. That's why that one scene, they actually played it in this episode, and I'm glad they did. I don't know at what point they did, where they said that Erica and Sutton had a very tumultuous past in his last couple seasons. And that particular scene that they played, that's the one where Sutton laughed right in her face, and I wish they would have played that, because she wasn't scared. She looked at her, she said, I was like, yes, that's exactly what you do, Sutton. That's what made her my favorite housewife at that point. It was that point and the shit that led later.
I knew that Erica was going to have these heifers scared seasons ago. I'm going way back to when we first got Eileen and Renna. And she got into it with Eileen when they were
I hated her after that.
About her son, when Eileen didn't really say anything about her son. I was like, you know what? This lady.
See, that's what made me dislike Erica.
Where's Eileen? Because I liked her on the show, and she used to not Where is that woman?
She was so unproblematic that I love Eileen too. But y'all know my girl, Miss Camille Grammer. When I tell
She
you,
been throwing shade
Camille,
on the
she be
Twitter.
throwing shade on social media, and y'all better catch that. When she called Dorita, she said, "Who the hell puts $10,000 in their purse?"
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
exactly. Come on
Listen,
now, yeah.
broke people know better. Dorito. And
Hell,
Doritos are
rich
bad
people,
for
and
Doritos
hell,
are terrible for your health, everyone. So the fact that her name aligns with it just lets us know that maybe watching her is not healthy
because I
for
don't think that's how you pronounce
happiness.
that shit anyway.
Her name, that girl,
I don't think that's how you pronounce it anyway. I don't. I feel like she's lying to the world. I do. I think her name
she
is
is with
Doris,
her fake
and
accent. The
I think her
accent
name,
makes no sense.
I think her name is Doris, and I don't. And I want somebody to research that shit so bad. I don't have the patience inside. But I feel like she fucking with y'all. That lady name is Doris. I don't care what nobody tell me.
Doris, Dorothy.
Yeah, Doris Kimsley. That's exactly. Where is her driver's license? I guarantee you that should say Doris. Because
Listen,
where she get Dorit from when this is a whole Caucasian woman?
no, she says her dad, somebody in her family, I think, is Portuguese, and then her parents, Portuguese, basically different variations of white, as there are
I
Africans
was
and
just gonna say
black
that.
people,
Yeah,
as there are
I was
Creole
just gonna
people.
say, girl, she
But
from
what I
Connecticut.
will
Hell, she was
say,
born here, and she's gone with that. I don't have time for
what I
Doris.
will say about Dorito, I think you are right. She is the scariest person, in my opinion, on this cast. I think I just get tired of her. But she's the babe one who's like, what's going to happen? Her and Kyle. Erica comes in that car and she talked to Sutton and she was just like, oh, okay. Like, what is the big deal? She left the show. She left the show. She did not go off on nobody. She did not make a scene in the show. She got up and excused herself. And honestly, even though we could talk about who we wished or could have gone after her, I think the only qualified person who should have was the person who garcelle. They actually, they have a friendship. If we around a bunch of new people and James starts going the fuck off, even though he's never really mad about me, I'm probably the best person I can talk to him, because when people mad, they just want to see who they trust, usually. So, it is what it is. So everything's fine. They move it along. There's no issue. And Crystal then asks Sutton, I am looking at notes, apologies, how she feels knowing that the group agreed to do this, because Sutton and the van, they're talking and shit. They're like, what's going on with this? And she's like, well, I'm on a foundation, and what did it for me was he spread the legs and was eating at the crotch. And I'm just like, okay. So Crystal asked a good question, like, are you looking down on us for doing that? Because you're saying you can't be affiliated with people who partake in these forms of activities. And that's what Sutton explains again, that it was mostly the crotch thing. So they move it along, and I was actually surprised that this cast has a really bad history of things happening like when they're in cars. I feel like this cast in Salt Lake City and Atlanta, and Married to Medicine, shit is always going down on a boat or in a car. Am I wrong? It's all the time. Anywho, they go
every time I see Kyle in a Sprinter or a limo, I always think back to season 1 with that scene with Kim. Every time I see Kyle in some shit like this,
think of her climbing over 3 women. You stole our goddamn house. It's just like.
And the thing about it is, and we know Kyle did that shit allegedly, because I can prove it.
I think that's why Kathy and Kim, no matter what Kim's done, and Kim do shit to them all, but I think that's why Kathy and Kim have been able to remain close, because there's something Kyle's doing. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, there's something happening there. Usually with families, when they're like, I'm the mistreated one or this and that, there's usually something going on with their own mind that may not be actual of reality. Anywho, so they're at dinner. They went to, it looked like some Japanese place in this new resort. And basically, Sutton apologized to Erica for her behavior, because it was Erica's event. And she's a true Southern Belle. So I already knew that was coming. Sutton will go off, but she always comes back and she's always accountable. And that is why a lot of people like her. Half of these housewives lack integrity and accountability. Sutton does not. So she apologizes to Erica, and you know, they were still acting surprised that Erica accepted the apology and moved on. They were truly surprised that Erica didn't start no shit. And now I'm looking, and I think this situation, and I hate to make like this big deep point, but I'm a super fan. But I feel like the people who were wishing, hoping, and or surprised that there was no issue or Erica didn't go off, I think those are the people we need to look out for. Call center, I'm addressing you as the secretary for Watch Your Mouth Reviews. What the fuck? Because it shows their edges are showing, their tracks are showing. The people not tripping, they're not tripping. They're like, whatever, we're gonna have a good night. We're still on a reality show. They want to see us drink and do crazy things because we old and in Vegas. But Dorit, Kyle, y'all the only two who was expecting and surprised that things were not going negatively with Erica. Now, y'all was complaining and wanted this gentle Erica. Now you have it, and you're suddenly surprised and confused as to what's going on. What's going on in y'all life? Because mind you, all the shit in the tabloids. Y'all want there to be a problem, Dorit and Kyle, because y'all two are the one with these fucked up marriages, and you don't want to talk to us about that on our TV screen. So I just think everyone should point that out. And James is just, so he's agreeing. So I don't.
Absolutely, because I couldn't agree more. No, I couldn't agree more, because the thing about it is, see, you understand with Kyle and Doris, you have to understand something. Stop laughing at me. I'm trying to make a point. But see, what it is that they want to go off on Erica so bad about her behavior, especially Doris over there when she was talking about her marriage. And the problem with that is that she realizes if she goes at Sutton, then that forms the alliance. Because remember, it's them core four. Now the fourth person ain't there anymore. Now it's them three. So she goes off on Sutton. They still have their alliance pack. So, you know, that's just what it is. And I feel like the fact that she didn't go off on something so cool, they're like, oh shit, we don't have our alliances anymore. And Erica's dropping. It's just you and me, Kyle. You know how she does that shit, and it drives me fucking.
So I just want to make an announcement on this channel that's vital. It's on your screens. Dorit is now Doris going forward. This is legendary. It's the only way I could not laugh. Okay, because look at it, and there's a reason I put the names in cap. He might be on to something. Okay,
I don't believe that's her name. I just don't.
She changed the T for the S, y'all.
I feel like she did. I feel like it's not pronounced Dorit. I feel like it's pronounced Doris, or it can be pronounced Dorit. I don't give a fuck. I don't believe that's her name. I don't believe it. I don't believe anything she says on this screen. Anybody that put $10,000 in their purse.
It's like, girl, what accent?
Anybody who changed her accent, changes her accent. She changes the scam where now it's $10,000 in the purse at a toy store where you can just put that on your Amex. Bam. Like Sutton does over there. Because Sutton's famous for
what I stand by when Dorit's robbery happened. Not to get off topic again, apologies to my viewers. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But I still feel like Dorit knows somebody who robbed houses, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. That's all I'm going to say. Allegedly. Moving it along. Let's become on the internet and talk about my opinions of this show. It's kind of dangerous, and that's why James is here. That's why he's here. He go help us have sense. So, everything goes well for the most part. Let me find where I was at on my notes because I got way off topic, and I hate to do that to y'all. Anywho, so after the apology and the people acting all surprised at the apology, Garcelle's son comes up and she just kind of says a little bit. She doesn't say too much. She does what I like to say. She keeps it cute. How you would with the coworker. Like, you can know stuff, but not stuff. I found out from my husband, actually, when he was working for Tesla a while ago. I was like, wait, your coworker, they don't know. Some of his coworkers did not know my name or anything like that. I found out he doesn't be doing that. I always meet them after he's like, can trust them and things like that. And he's, I don't trust anybody. I'm like, so some people are protective over their loved ones in that way. If you show them once you're going to disrespect or not protect someone important to them, then they're going to protect that person and hold them a little closer. It's just, I think that's healthy. So Garcelle doesn't want that. For those who are under a rock, there's been a couple of things to happen with Garcelle's kids. Let's start with the oldest. We'll go from oldest to youngest because they ask about Oliver because Oliver is getting a divorce. For those who are huge Vanderpump Rules fans like me, you know that he was involved in the scandal. He was seen kissing Raquel while still married, and Raquel was still friends with Ariana in the group. And she was also fucking her best friend's boyfriend. It's just messy. So Garcelle's son was caught all up in that on camera, and child, he is fine. I have to remember that. But he's cute. Oliver is cute. I give him that. But James is like, what? I like the braids. It's a thing. Leave me alone. Moving it along. Garcelle, he's like, I guess. So Garcelle's son, when all of that happened, he was caught in a scandal. Nothing happened too much with Beverly Hills, but with that, the press, his former drug issue, she doesn't want that to be on him. Then her younger boys, the twins, I cannot remember both of their names right now, so I just won't say them. Thank you. Okay, look at you. Okay, that's why he's here. Them two were, I don't want to say her name, but the lady, Diana, with the weird husband that liked to sing, who was on the show, Diana Jenkins from last season.
Oh, the one. Okay,
You forgot the one not
the
from
one
here.
the one that kept coming at her. Yeah, I remember her now. I remember.
So last season there was big issues with Diana. She was actually eluded. It was all over the press for a while, and their court case just closed today. Her case was actually dismissed. She was trying to look for who called Jack's racial slurs, but allegedly the case was dismissed because they found that the bots were linked to her and Lisa Rinna, which there's a lot that came out. Basically, allegedly Lisa Rinna and Diana Jenkins, who used to be housewives, came for Garcelle's younger sons who are minors and under 18, having bots send them racial slurs and things like that online, which pissed me off heavily pissed me off. And it was one of the things that actually made me want to get into recapping these shows because I feel like there's not enough Black recappers. I said it.
There's not on these shows, at least.
Not on these type of shows. There's not.
No.
So, that's what it is. So Diana did that to Garcelle's sons. There was also instances, as you guys saw on the show, and all of the women, when those racial things happen, I wasn't feeling how they responded to it. And then going forward, Erica got drunk because she liked to mix Lexapro and alcohol, and you're not supposed to mix psychotropic benzodiazepines or antipsychotics with alcohol. Just for y'all who don't know, you're not supposed to. It's gonna make you crazier. She was rude to Jax, but Erica was drunk. She was just like, "You're a minor. Why are you here? Get the fuck out of here." But you shouldn't talk to somebody's kid like that, especially when you don't know them. You probably shouldn't address people's kids when you're drunk.
I'm saying.
This is why you don't take those. The ladies did not. Dorit did. No, that was Crystal who moved him out of there, actually.
It was Crystal, yeah. Crystal said that's not okay to say.
Crystal checked her and all of that. But the other ladies, except for Sutton was on her side. They all did not check it. And then they end up laughing at her son, PK.
Oh, I didn't like that scene. I can't watch that. They went
in. And that was just a clip of that scene, you guys. That was a whole scene of them talking about a young African-American boy negatively on TV who was a minor. And even if he was a young white boy, why are y'all talking about this fucking
Mauricio
child?
For me that said, I think it's great. It was him for me that said, I can remember literally watching that scene, and as soon as he said that, I had to turn it because I was going to get angry. Because how dare you? So when it came to Garcelle saying that shit to those other ladies, and Doris over there sitting down at the table eating her breakfast, acting like she don't understand what the fuck Garcelle is talking about. Like, that shit pissed me off. When I tell you, it pissed me off because she has a right to feel like, hey, I don't want to share any business with my children because I don't feel safe. And it's because y'all gave her an avenue not to feel safe. Just because you've apologized, you did it to save face.
Yeah. Here's the thing too. Nobody's going to accept an apology that no one should have to coach a person or explain to them. It shouldn't take someone seeing that other people don't like what you did to apologize. If you want to fucking apologize, just do it.
Right. Because Doris, if we was being real, or Kyle, if we were being real, what y'all should have did, y'all should have said, hey, I ain't with this conversation. Cut that camera. I'm not a part of this conversation. They're not going to do this in my presence. Those are little boys. We're not about to do this here. If y'all would have did that on camera, then I would have a completely different opinion of y'all.
Yeah.
Completely different. But the fact that y'all said, oh, and the fact that you said, Doris, especially you, I was mortified. I couldn't tell looking at that scene.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go over their little sexual card game just because I am trying to get monetized, and much of what was said, if I say it, I already curse like a sailor. Y'all know that. So I can't be adding in cursing and, you know, what they did. But the card game looked fun. I like stuff like that. And Sutton, nothing is wrong with having sex twice a day. Is that realistic? I don't know. I think Sutton just ain't had none in a while and is eager.
Yeah,
but moving on, Garcelle does say we're fast forwarding to the morning, and Garcelle already told us that she didn't want to bring up her sons because she said that the group seems disingenuous with their concern and care. And she's absolutely correct. I'm going to just say what Garcelle can't say because she's on a cast full of predominantly Caucasian women. As Black people, we have to learn to be true chameleons in life. We have to learn how to interact with groups of people who already have preconceived biases against and about or for or towards us. And what that means is little things like like when I go to work. Wow. So did they braid it one by one? Can I touch it? But then you see the same people calling our hair stylists for them hairstyles. So, you know, there are ways and things that we can say and things that we can do. No, when you deal with the rich in those situations versus what people like me and James go through day to day as Black people, it's a whole different bargaining because now they've got ego, money, elitist class, all of that impacting their ability to see, hear, or acknowledge when they're wrong or missing something or in need of learning. So Garcelle saying, oh, I feel it's disingenuous, to the confessional and waiting till the morning to speak to the group, I think was smart because these women also complained when Garcelle first came on the show about how she's hard with emotion. She's difficult. It was difficult to get to know her and they feel like she has a wall up. Then when she brings her wall down, you bitches disrespect her kids. Then a racial slur and attack takes place on the only Black cast member and person of color on the show. And nobody could get it except for the other person of color and the lady who grew up in the South with a bunch of Black folk. So I just look at the cast sometimes like, bravo, y'all got to be careful. Garcelle in the morning does bring up the lack of trust with her family. And, you know, she does bring up the situations with the group, laughing at her kids. She brings up some of them and she shouldn't have to bring them all up because it's probably upsetting to her. Listen, I wouldn't trust them either. If you don't have the decency to understand to check your husbands when they are talking about kids, when you guys have been in the public eye for decades, Kyle and Mauricio, that I don't know what to do for you. This is why nobody feels sorry for you, Kyle. I'm just saying. So Dorit, Doris decides that she and her probably rented outfit are going to speak. And when Doris speaks, it was so rude. I feel like everyone else was like, you could tell they were a little awkward. They don't know how to handle that because it is someone's kid. And then they know all the stuff that came with it. But Dorit didn't care. She seemed fully comfortable to speak as she always does. She says, I thought it was resolved. Yeah, Garcelle. That fake ass accent. I thought it was resolved. It doesn't resolve. Her kids were attacked publicly. Like, she's not going to get over that. People can go and rewatch her son being disrespected at any time. It hasn't resolved. Like, even if it did, she has a right to feel like she can't have her kids around after the resolution to prevent it from happening again.
Because let's make it clear. Y'all are on a TV show. That shit just happened last year. It wasn't like it was 5 years ago, because it was 5 years ago, but like, okay, Garcelle, look, now them kids grown, it is what it is. But it happened literally last year, and it shouldn't have happened in the first
At
place.
the
And then
time of filming,
not only that, then y'all double down on it, have a conversations with your husbands, and then laugh about that at that boy's expense. So you expect her to then, now after you so-called apologize, to then all of a sudden say, yeah, everything is free and clear. Jackson is a 4.0 student. Jay just got on the basketball team, and Olive over there, being dad of the year. Y'all expect her really to share those most intimate, personal details about her kids after y'all just poke fun at them, and then literally just do it back in her face? So I'm sorry. It's like, no, I don't expect her to ever like truly
I'm
move
gonna
on
say
with you guys
this:
in that.
Dorit's so focused on having the accent of a rich white lady who is transatlantic based on the accent. I think she's going for a Dutch, maybe the Hampstead area of England, fucking type of accent. Her fake accent. Dorit, I'm gonna say this: Dorit does not get it because she's privileged in a certain type of way. Dorit also does not get it because she is one of the most selfish individuals, I think, to ever grace any franchise of the Housewives. Dorit has no storyline outside of the fact that her husband and herself are constantly in the news for DUIs, debt, and multiple home break-ins. Dorit really needs to be careful with what she does and how she handles everything on this show, because it doesn't. One thing all fans of all colors, backgrounds in life can pretty much agree on: nobody likes Dorit. Even Andy Cohen was tired of how long Doris spoke at every reunion and everything. So,
It's because
Doris,
it's some bullshit. It's some fuck
if
shit.
these were your
It's like
kids,
literally,
you would have a serious problem with this. But what it's
right.
looking like is because Garcelle has children that are Black, y'all feel like it's okay to laugh. Y'all feel like she has to just get over it. And you feel like there's no resolve if she doesn't want you to be around her kids. Doris, Kyle, would you allow people who had your kids all over the tabloids, infected and sad, dealing with racial slurs? Would you guys be okay if that happened to you and then you saw your cast members laughing with their significant others? I don't think so. Dorit needs to shut the fuck up and put the cigarette out, because she's fucking up the church's pieces of change. And I'm sick of her. She needs a, what do they call it? Exorcism, where they tie you up.
No, she just need to get the fuck out of our faces and go and join Teddy over there at her podcast. Because I feel like this is going to be Dorit last season. I'm calling it. Ooh. Doris, this is your last season. I'm speaking it out there because you bring absolutely nothing to the show, and you have not brought nothing to the show. I don't give a fuck about you and PK. I just don't. I don't care about that. Y'all.
PK is only relevant because of LVP. Never forget. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly, because that was her friend that brought y'all into this shit in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm about sick of Kyle. I hope this is Kyle's last season. I pray for that every time, and I know.
I don't think Kyle is ever going to let go of this show. I still don't. I think that her and Mauricio definitely had issues in their marriage, because their whole time on the show, there's always been talk and rumors of him cheating, and we've watched her go through this strange plastic surgery and exercise bout. I definitely do think that they had a disconnect and issues, but as for like Kyle by herself and how she handles things, I don't see how a person who doesn't have loyalty towards their family, their spouse, none of that is going to be able to be on a show like this and it work. I don't feel Kyle's honest. I feel like she's gotten by and avoided a lot, and I'm kind of over it. So I hope Kyle and Doris leave. I'm tired of them. And I feel like Kyle and Doris have caused some okay housewives, or even housewives I didn't care for, but they've kind of driven a lot of people who've come on this show as friends of and housewives away. Like, people have left this show to not deal with their ass. Them two specifically, LVP. Like, they're dangerous. So bravo.
Absolutely. Camille.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Let me tell y'all something, bro. I'll take Camille back, and if you give it to Doris.
Yeah, please give it.
Because I like Camille. Here's the thing. I say this all the time. I like Camille, but then there's times I don't like her.
Yeah.
It's very 50-50. But I like her enough to say I wouldn't mind seeing her again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Camille is legendary. I know she started this show. She was a bitch her first season, but you know, I think
I
since
actually understood it. I understood it because she was in the middle of a divorce, and you know, we all know.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing. That was definitely an embarrassing divorce.
Yeah.
That was a hot mess. But I definitely feel like when certain people are on the show, I feel like certain people can't get away with as much. I feel like it won't go in different directions. So they need to. They really do need to get rid of them. It's old. It's old. Nobody. It's really old. Anywho, that is all that happened in this episode. There was not really a lot. It looks like they're setting up for the rest of the season. Dorit, I think you are a disgusting and vile human for not understanding how someone's kid who was attacked, you made that about you. And it's like some things you just shouldn't make about you. Kids, as they like to say in Housewives world, are supposed to be off limits, but people keep talking about attacking. And I'm talking about the people watching the show too. That shit is whack. Everybody doing that, grow the hell up. Like, leave the kids alone. Right. Anywho, that's all we have for today. We'll be back next Thursday to recap Housewives of Beverly Hills. We will also have a recap on Saturday of Love After Lockup. And then we have, I think, the Family Chantel too. I got to look because I have too many lives. But we will be back next week. I appreciate everybody for watching. Don't be scared to comment your opinions. Let me know where you agree or disagree with what we have to say. Other than that, I'll have a song review later tonight. You guys all have a good night. And thank you, James.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.